Alright, you guys have seen my top 10 favorite movies of 2014. Now here's the reverse, the opposite side of the coin. The top 10 worst movies of 2014. For my opinion, and what I mean by that is if you liked or had fun with any of the movies on this particular list, that is awesome, as long as you're having fun at the movies. These are just the movies I myself did not have fun with. And I probably should have. I don't like long introductions, so I'm gonna get on with the list of movies that I felt were so bad I just have to talk about them one more time in the year. And that's here. Number 10. Starting off our list, we have Brick Mansions. This is actually a remake of another movie, and I had heard praises about the original movie, and so I saw this movie and I was like, okay, that tells me one thing. Either everybody is drunk on a shitty original movie, or this remake missed the mark entirely and it's nothing like the original. I liked all the cool parkour shit, but it is a rarity to see a movie sprinkled with such illogic. It's just that baffling. Somewhere before the plot point where someone was like, hey, we have 5 minutes to drive that nuke away from the city. I'll do it. I had already checked out. That just sealed it. Number 9. Next, we have Annabelle. This is the prequel to The Conjuring, springboarding off of that movie's success. So like, hey, we can just make a movie, say it's the prequel to The Conjuring, and everyone will go watch it. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be entertaining. In fact, it can be boring as shit. And this movie was indeed boring as shit. I give the movie props for that one scene in the basement that was actually pretty creepy. Now, if they could have kept that going throughout the entire movie, or at least half the movie, I would have been entertained. But this movie dragged on. I actually ended up screening this movie with 2 other people in the theater, and at a point it was like Mystery Science Theater. We were just talking shit about the movie. That was actually fun. Number 8. Guilty pleasure movies are fun. Doesn't mean they're good though. Yeah, I'm talking about I, Frankenstein. What was this thing? It was Frankenstein? He's all like, he looks like Aaron Eckhart, so he's all chiseled body like, yes, I am Frankenstein. But I talk gruff because I was in the Dark Knight and I'm taking cues from him. I gave this movie a good time if you're drunk, because I said in my review, if you are drunk, this is a guilty pleasure movie and you'll probably have fun with it. Example, Street Fighter. The Van Damme movie is my guilty pleasure movie. However, if someone was making a list of the top 10 worst movies of 1994, Street Fighter had better be on there because it is not good. And neither is I, Frankenstein. Number 7. Next, are you sick of Melissa McCarthy? I wasn't until I saw Tammy. Now I kind of am. I was looking forward to Tammy because it's Melissa McCarthy and she's good in those roles and she was still functional in the role in this movie, but this movie, oh my god, what a mess. It wasn't funny, it was awkward, it was boring, it was a drama in all the wrong ways. It's not a comedy with dramatic moments and heart and that's all good. No, it's an awkward dramedy with really awkward drama. One thing I cannot stand is an awkward mother-son, mother-daughter duo, and this was that. This movie clearly tried to be sold on Melissa McCarthy being Melissa McCarthy. Now everyone's wise to that act, so this movie, hell no. Number 6. Guys, there's no real reason Transcendence should have been one of the biggest bores of the year, but it was. Some of you may not know this. There was a time Johnny Depp was a great actor. The guy has acting chops. I have seen it. So you have an accomplished actor in a movie about a guy who gets uploaded into the internet like the fucking Lawnmower Man. This should have been awesome. But it was not. When this movie came out on Blu-ray, I was hanging out with someone who got it and he was like, I'm gonna watch it. And I was like, don't do that. And then he put it in and I sat down and watched it because I'm a team player like that. Oh my god, I forgot how boring it actually was. It tries to come across as this pseudo-intellectual, like, ooh, what is humanity? Who is human? In the reality of execution, it moves along like an old guy with a really bad prostate problem. You know, you ever hear your grandfather piss and it sounds like... That is the pace of this movie. Number 5. Yeah, there were a string of shitty horror movies this year. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones, that's another. This was the moment, like when Paranormal Activity came out, I was like, yeah, that was cool, that was creepy. And some people were like, it was boring as shit, but I enjoyed it. Then even the second one and the third one, I started enjoying less and less, but I'm still on board with the franchise. At this point, this is 2 movies too many. The franchise has such an ego at this point. They're like, no, this isn't actually the official sequel to Paranormal Activity. This is a spin-off, because we can do that, because we're that relevant. No, you're not. Know what you are. You are not that great anymore. This movie even tries to have the balls to tie into the first one at the end, and to their credit, no, they just fail. It doesn't make sense. The timing's all off. I officially want this franchise to die. Number 4. Told you there were a few of these shitty movies. Devil's Due was among them. Talk about generic-ass horror movie. Granted, we've pretty much seen most of what we can see in the horror movie genre at this point in life. But Devil's Due doesn't even make an attempt. It's like, well, let's just kind of do everything that people have seen before and we'll just pass it off as maybe it'll be ironic. It's fashionable. It's vintage. We'll repackage it and resell it as something new. No. The plot holes and loopholes in this movie alone make your head spin. You're like, that makes zero sense. A movie that has satanic cult nonsense still needs to make sense by the end of it. Number 3. You know what sucks ass? Movies based off of board games and shitty scary movies. This one, it's both, and it's Ouija. What was this thing? You know, the funny thing about it is when I watched the movie and did my review, it didn't dawn on me that the movie was based off of the board game Ouija. You know, like Battleship and all that shit. I just thought it was Ouija, and there's a Ouija board, and that's why it's called Ouija. I didn't get that it was actually based off of the board game. Don't worry, it would have made my list before I thought that, because this movie is shit to the 10th degree. The acting sucks. The premise is shit. This movie has so many holes in it. By the end of the movie, you walk out and you're like, nope. If that was, no. I guess that's what pisses me off in movies is when there are loopholes in the movie and the plot actually deconstructs itself while you're watching it. That's bad enough. When you're paying the actors $7 an hour because you can, that's just, well, I don't know what they made. But I swear to God, if it was more than $7 an hour, it was too much. Number 2. And you guys knew this was going to be on here. It's not quite a horror movie, kind of. It kind of is. But it's definitely based off of toys. Yeah, Transformers Age of Extinction. This movie, I went into this movie going, okay, maybe Michael Bay can turn over a new leaf. You have new actors, you have new Autobots, new Decepticons. It's a new premise at this point. It's a new Transformers franchise. Could have been. And then he just starts doing his Michael Bayism. You're like, nope, you're actually the guy that killed Transformers before. If the movie ended at a certain point, I would have been like, the movie's light as shit. It's not good, but it can still be a guilty pleasure movie. But the movie goes on for an extra 45 minutes in which you're just being waterboarded with this metal orgy of Michael Bay dog shit. No. Again, if you had fun with this movie, I am glad you can do that. I can't. I can't tell anybody to watch this movie. Number 1. Coming in at number 1, I know some of you thought that Transformers Age of Extinction was going to be my number 1. Nope. Early on in the year, there was another one that I saw and I was like, this is going to be on the top 10 list for sure. And it turns out no movie this year was shittier to me than this movie. Legend of Hercules. Oh my God. I don't know where to begin with this movie. Holy shit. The sets were dog shit. The costumes looked like a shitty school play. The acting was worse than that. I still laugh when I think about the bad guy in this movie. And it's overacting about everything. Give me a break. Bad guys can be menacing without being cartoons. This guy, he was the worst part of Saturday morning cartoons. The fights were even nonsense. That scene where a dude gets stabbed and tucks the spear under his arm facing the camera. If it were this way, yeah, he could have faked it and you'd be like, I think he tucked it under his arm, but yeah, I don't know for sure. But when he gets like this and tucks it, he might as well just look at the camera and be like, no. You can watch this movie for laughs. It doesn't change the fact that it's actually the shittiest movie of the year. I haven't seen the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson movie. I should watch this one and then the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson Hercules so I could be like, oh my God, that's like Gladiator. That's like legit Ridley Scott epic right there. Yeah, that movie's still with me. I still remember the horror to this day. All right, guys, those are the top 10 shittiest movies this year. Granted, there are some shitty movies I didn't watch. They didn't come into a theater near me, and I was like, I don't feel like driving 30 minutes to go watch that shitty movie that everyone says is shitty. So yeah, to my everlasting shame or pride, I didn't go see them. But of the ones I saw, these are them. All right, I usually don't like being a negative Nancy here, but your list of the top 10 shittiest movies of 2014. What is it? What are they? Whatever they are, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.